Modern CPA. Our purpose is to provide valuable information to small business owners. On our podcast, Profit Points, we discuss business how-tos, give tax tips, and dig into real-life experiences in the crazy world of running your own business. If you find this podcast helpful, then like, subscribe, and follow us on social media. Hey everyone, welcome to Profit Points. We are a podcast that talks to professionals, industry experts, and other small business owners about the world of business. And today we have Jenn and Mike Brango with us. And I am so anxious to hear about their journey being small business owners. And I welcome you, Jenn and Mike. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself.
So Michelle wants me to talk about my journey, and it's been kind of an up, like any other small business owner. I don't think I ever really thought I wanted to go into business for myself. I just wanted to create something that other women wanted to experience. But I think a part of that, there's that, as you grow in your life, you find that things that are working well, business for me is just an expression of me and my own journey. So, I started out unknowingly to Mike, I quit my full-time job and I'm going to be a personal trainer. And he was like, we're in the middle of refinancing our home. And I was like,
maybe not the best time.
Right.
It was too late.
Right. So it was, I took a big, huge risk, and I got into my car and drove to people's homes with my equipment. Ding, 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 ding. I was driving around in my tiny little car with
the Tri-County area, too, not just
stability, but I would drive all the way down to southern Chester County, all the way up to Bucks County. And
so we're talking Pennsylvania, just so that people are aware, because there's people are in other states, but yes, you were all over the state of Pennsylvania, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And it was just my determination that I just kept doing it, because I felt like as I was growing, I wanted to help more people. And I felt like as you have the ups and downs. I was working for other companies, and I was actually, the one company I worked for actually went out of business, and I didn't get paid for some of the work that I did. So I was like, well, I think maybe I need to do this on my own. But then I was like, still scared. So I was like, I don't want my business. So I joined up with another business, licensing, and he actually fed clients to me. And again, it was like, it wasn't a good fit, and it was still me working for someone else, and I was not growing as a person. So finally, I was introduced to Adventure Boot Camp as as an option for me to have my own business. And I was like, oh, that's good, because I don't have to be tied to a brick and mortar, right? Because that was scary to me. So I had a business that was outside for women, and it really just kind of helped me grow. It helped me mature in business. It helped me learn, marketing. At the time, social media really didn't exist. So I was like going from place to place and handing out.
Website, old school networking.
Just the whole excitement, new, it's mine, and just marketing, going through the Westchester, what was it, the Recreation League, and
getting hooked in with recreation departments.
And so learning how to create relationships, and then I started you have to network. Oh, what's that all about? And
so there was lots of building blocks that were happening, even I guess working with other people. It sounds like you were learning oh, that's not what I want, and I need to move on. And then once you were on your own, you started finding building blocks and new things that were helping you grow the business and new ways of doing things.
Exactly. And I think that's actually one of the networking was where we met Sean, ironically. Yeah. So, it's like, that's from there, we were like, oh yeah, we kind of need an accountant. And we're like, oh God, we know you.
The last accountant did a disaster.
Yes. So, it's like, as you're doing business, you're like, oh, I guess I need to do that. And you're like, because you still want to have a business, and you're realizing that there's some responsibility with this business and all the things that it takes. And so learning that process, and all the while just developing myself and how I evolved as an owner in my business itself.
And understanding that you couldn't do it all yourself. That's where the accountant came in.
Right.
You know, it's like,
Exactly.
look,
and other people as well. Other people
but
that help you along.
I don't want to do the books. We need to find somebody to do that.
Right.
You know, that type of stuff. So understanding your limitations at the same time while you were growing.
Right.
So you could put your efforts into things that you felt mattered more.
Right, exactly. Because I'm not an accountant. Like, I don't need to be an accountant. You guys, So I realized, just finding the people. And then, of course, I was growing with Adventure Boot Camp, and Mike kind of jumped in, and he opened up a boot camp in Chester Springs for me. And we handled Phoenixville. So we had 3 different boot camps at the same time. So we
evolved from 1 in West Goshen to 3 over the course of a year, year and a half.
Right.
And that must have been, let's talk about that for a second, because that must have been very stressful. How,
Gross, yeah.
That kind of growth
every morning for both of us.
Yeah.
Because, it was stressful.
Well, in and of itself, it was the 2 of us, and running the business itself, it was stressful. So getting up early, obviously there was pieces to it that, in the afternoon we took naps, we had to
because you were up so early.
Exactly. Yep. So, doing business and doing, that kind of thing, it was just all the process of learning like what works well for us. And we realized that as we were growing with the boot camps, there was something that was missing again. There's always that inkling. You're like, it's doing well, but there's something that I'm not able to offer because I'm doing this. And so, it's just always that inkling. And ironically, we didn't
want a brick and mortar.
We didn't want a brick and mortar, but we're doing outdoor boot camps, and we live in a 4-season environment.
Right, and we had to find somewhere to go in the winter to keep the people happy. So.
Right. Well, the one boot camp I had was really funny in Westchester, which kind of said I need to find a solution. Was when we were outside and we had snow coming down on us, and we were literally up to our knees by the end of boot camp. So I was like,
oh my gosh.
Solution. So at that point, it was kind of like that. I was like Mike said, we don't want to invest in a brick and mortar and all this. And all of a sudden, we were sitting out there, and connection. You meet people, and this one of the owners of
some properties downtown Phoenixville.
He's like, we have this empty space. Would you guys like to use it for your boot camp on the offs when it's not, warm out? And we're like, sure, but what are you going to charge us? And we didn't have to sign a lease. He's like, you guys just use it until you feel. And we
agreed to like a very not minimal. amount and and for us
it kind of just fell into your lap in a sense, and it was like perfect serendipity.
Because at that time, that's when Phoenixville was starting to rise, and first Fridays were starting and all of that. So we had that go put a table out on Friday nights. That is basically where the evolution of the brick and mortar came from, because the space itself was not great for what we were doing.
Maybe not ideal, but it was your start in the brick and mortar. Yeah,
exactly. And it really helped also expand. So that's really what got us into potentially, because I was doing personal training before. So people would ask me, and I didn't have the option. And when I had boot camp outside, I'd either have to go to their home, but now they could come to me. And so I was like, I kind of like this, because driving to Westchester every single day, 5 days a week, 4:30 in the morning for 5 years was really taxing on me. And I was starting to say, I'd like to stay closer to home. And so this option showed up, and then we really liked the option, but we just didn't like the space. So then we were introduced to Dave and Marion Moskowitz, and they gave us Franklin Commons. They basically said, okay, we have this space. Would you guys like to? And we were like, okay.
Would you like to come down on Sunday to? Because Jen was training them at their house. Had just started.
I see. Training. So you were helping them with their fitness, and it kind of evolved into, we have this space.
You want to have tea and lunch and tea on Sunday? Come on down. We'll talk.
Right.
Nice.
We left there with an agreement.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
Right.
And so that's kind of
how it snowballed
yeah,
and
it
evolved.
snowballed into that. And that space we had for about a year.
Yeah, about 14 months.
And we outgrew it. And they had another
Got it.
space in the building. And so we moved into that other space. We actually mortgaged it. We bought it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's, sometimes when you start small businesses, you've got to look for those pieces that are people who are in your corner.
Yeah.
To help you move forward. And we're like we can't buy it. We don't, we haven't had this part of the business as long as we've had, so we don't have all the taxes and stuff we needed to be able to go to a bank and say, hey, we want a small business owner or whatnot. And he's like, oh, I'll take care of it. I'll finance it for you.
Yeah.
So we're like, okay.
Well, that's kind of nice. And not a lot of people get that kind of private financing or finding private financing to help them get a leg up.
Terms told him what the current interest rates were. He's like, okay, that works.
And so Michelle and Sean, basically what it said to us is that people had faith in us, to believe in us, that they would actually, mortgage themselves, and they bet on us. So we realized at that point, leveraging other people's money was really what is not a bad thing to do. When you open a business, you kind of need to look for support and money from other places. And banks, unfortunately, are not always the best place to go. It's actually looking at other people that are interested and really want to be a part of investing in small business.
And it's also, the big part of that was building the relationship.
Exactly.
Right.
And they trusted us, and they knew and they believed that we had the heart and we wanted to be doing this. They believed enough in us that they knew we were going to make it a success. So that's basically, so we got into that second space and we were like, we're outgrowing this. But we also felt like the space was limiting us because it wasn't along the street. Really, it had,
it was interior.
The foot traffic and stuff like that was difficult.
Location wasn't ideal, right?
No,
Right.
It wasn't ideal. It was convenient for sure, but it wasn't ideal. So we moved out of that space and moved into
a shopping center
that had, like frontage, there's windows, all this other stuff. And it gave us the capacity to grow even more. And with that, the whole time in the back of my mind, I was like, there's still something missing. There's still something I'm not doing, doing the brick and mortar and doing the gym environment. I really loved it. But a part of that is I couldn't impact the clients on the day to day. I couldn't impact them from.
Right. We would get them for 30 to 45 minutes a day.
Right.
And then they go on their way.
Right. And a lot of times people would come in, they do our challenges, and then they do the 6 weeks and they'd come back 6 weeks later and say, Jen, I'm back to where I was. And it felt like I'm not doing you a service. I need to figure this out. And that's when I decided, one of my clients introduced me to life coaching school. And I was like, okay, here we go. Jen's like,
here she goes again. Back.
Here we go.
During the refi. Yeah.
Right. Here we go. Mike, by the way, we're getting a loan for this 9 months of intense training. And he's like, well, how are we going to, I'm like, we're going to do it. He's like, okay. And we're like, so again, I got more training, and I did 9 months of intense training of becoming a life coach, as well as still running the business. And in the meantime, as a small business owner,
burnout was happening.
Well, crap happens.
Well, burnout because you're burning at both ends, right? Because you're still having to run the business that is existing. Right. And creating something new and a pivot, but then COVID hit.
Yes.
Yep.
Well, what really kind of that year was when
we were already talking about it.
Yeah, we were already like talking about potentially moving out of the brick and mortar. It was kind of like that year, a lot of things happened. Personal stuff happened. My mom got sick with appendicitis at the beginning of the year. His mom died. My nephews died.
Right? It's a bunch of stuff that hit you guys.
And it was like stress. Right. We still had to get up. People were still relying on us. We still had bills to pay. I just got a $10,000 loan for this life coaching school. I had to finish life coaching school. So I had all this stuff that was happening. And in all honesty, as a health and fitness professional, a lot of my health suffered. And so it was a big learning experience for me as a small business owner, as a human being, as a human in a world of kind of chaos for me. Right. And so I needed to learn how to pivot and learn how to be a balanced business owner.
I was just going to say that it sounded like it, from talking from experience, balance is like a huge thing. And as a small business owner, you kind of get wrapped up in all the things that you have to do, and you don't take that time out for yourself. And when you're not doing your business, you're helping other people in your family or whatever it is. Yeah.
But being a small business owner, being a small business owner, it's 24/7, 365. It's not, it doesn't shut off. It doesn't turn off. You have to find what, like you said, the balance to manage those stresses and to be able to deal with, with everything that's happening, not just in your business, but personally.
Right. One of the things that a point that I was told a long time ago is that balance doesn't mean everything's equal at all times. What it means is that sometimes you have to give to one side more than another, and then you give to the other side sometimes more than the other. So whether it's personal or your, kids or your business or whatever, it depends. It's not always exactly equal all the time. It goes like this.
And it's funny you say that, because we were actually having a discussion with our business coaches yesterday. That's what the topic was.
Right.
About, crazy? 4 different buckets. And it's like, okay, which one are you willing to sacrifice for the time being to get to where you want?
I like that though, but it's the time being, right? It's not ongoing.
Right.
But most of us in small business, that's the problem. We
have a pattern of habit, and we get into that. I feel like I have to keep sacrificing. And, that's one thing I learned really significantly. And that's one thing I teach to a lot of my clients is that, you do not have to live in this environment of stress all the time. You might have stress, but learning stress resilience is one of the key factors of, okay, so that at times your physical well-being is very important to you, but how can you baseline it? How can you do the minimal effective dose in order to keep things running and knowing that you're not sacrificing this to get this? The minimal effective dose to me oftentimes is setting anchors for a lot of our clients, because we talk about, fitness, we talk about eating healthfully. And you guys know with the tax season, you guys have to make decisions. You guys know that you've got but it's a short period of time that you have this kind of rush, but that's a season. And when I'm in this season, these are the things that I know that are my baseline, and I know I'm still working and I'm still taking care of myself. And that's really what, that's what I had to learn myself. And I honestly will tell you that I use everything that I learned, because of course I am my test case. I am the geek, and everything that I think I know gets slapped in my face. I get thrown off the cliff and everything.
You're still being tested all the time.
Oh my gosh. I'm like, seriously, universe, what is this? You just needed to learn.
Yes, until you got it, we're going to keep throwing it at you.
Exactly.
And so when COVID happened,
it was kind of like,
here's another thing. Here we go again.
And
here we go.
So we had already, like we said, we were already, the inkling for me personally, I don't know such for Mike, but inkling for me was to do an online program already. I was already kind of envisioning
that and moving towards that direction.
Right. And, I created that online burnout to kick-ass program because of my own experience, but that was that's when I started revolving into that. And I kind of stepped away from the gym, but COVID hit. And so, oh crap, we've got to let some people go. We still have some clients relying on us. We still have an income from the gym. What do we do here? We still had a lease with our landlords. And so we still had the brick and mortar. So what are we going to do? And we pivoted. We went online. Of course, we had to close down based on the local recommendations. And gyms really had a bad name at the time. Everyone was scared to go into the gym, and it was frightening. And we were just we were trying to float at that time because a lot of people were scared. They're like, I'm not getting my same gym membership. And so it was kind of like, what do we do? And it was kind of a miracle that I honestly say with the PPP, Sean helped us walk through all of that paperwork, which we really appreciated, because at the time we just didn't know what is our future.
Right.
Yeah. And so unknown.
We had no backup plan in place yet at that point.
No, we really didn't. We knew that we wanted to go online, but were we ready?
And I wasn't selling real estate at that point either, because you couldn't.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Mike also sold some real estate. He would sell real estate, and that was kind of shut down as well until it opened up, and then it got crazy. But
and then it got crazy. Yeah. And at the time, it was like Mike hadn't been marketing himself as a real estate agent. It was kind of like, we've got all our eggs in this gym basket. And so we had to kind of go online. And of course, we lost quite a few clients. We sold our house. We moved into an apartment. We downsized. We said, okay, what are we going to do? We're going to go online. And it was scary. It was, here we are again. Oh my gosh.
What?
So when you were facing that, we've talked to other people about the same thing. And like, when you were sitting there facing that, what were you feeling? Like looking, I know you were scared, but like, did you feel like the technology was overwhelming? Did you feel like you had a handle on that, but it was the other parts? Like how did that shake out for you guys?
No, I mean, technology was, fine.
You felt fine with that piece.
Yeah, because that's I love it.
Yeah, so, he's my tech guy. Yeah.
But the big key to that, I think, was, okay, so we've been the face of fitness in the marketplace. Now we're going online where people don't know us, and we're pivoting from mainly fitness to the other 80% of life factors that contribute to your health.
Life and nutrition.
Right.
Yeah.
So it wasn't just pivoting out of the brick and mortar.
Right.
It was also a complete pivot of the messaging we were putting out there.
Right.
And we know that needed to happen.
We just
based off 15 years of experience with women and still continually beating themselves up because things aren't changing the way they want them to change because they weren't taking care of the other 80%.
Right.
So that's kind of where it started to evolve a little bit more.
So the biggest challenge for us was where do we market?
Right.
How do we market? And social media is one of the biggest things. And, we knew from the gym that social media worked, but it also didn't work. And the fact that people, they're like, oh, you're one of those, that kind of feeling of, oh, you're one of those fitness influencers or whatever. Like, what's the bill of sales, or what results are you going to get me? So it was really kind of challenging for us mentally to walk through our own beliefs, as well as walk through the kind of the feeling of social media. Also, we were going through social media when social media was kind of antagonistic, if you think about it, because politics, and everyone this, that, and the other thing. And so we were scared to death, but we're like, okay, we got to do it somewhere. And this is where we can focus. As long as we're keep doing the work.
Keep strong,
just hold your head up.
As our business coach says, keep doing the boring.
Right, keep doing the boring work. And in general, people were succeeding on social media. We just had a hard time seeing us doing that on a regular basis, because social media can drag you in. The bad habit of scrolling, and we know people are like, I'm off social media, and so you're like, we're losing our clients, and how are we going to get them? And you're like, so you have those.
Your industry, there's a lot of noise around a lot of different things in your industry, from fad diets, from the new exercise plan of the week, and so there's a lot of these other factors, not just the social media noise, but within your industry there's all kinds of stuff happening.
$30 billion worth.
Yes.
On an annual basis.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when you're trying to pivot to do all this stuff, you have to, I'm sure you struggled trying to figure out what's the right message that you're sending with how you're differentiating yourself against all of that other stuff.
Now, did you guys rely on other people to help you with any of that? Who did you draw on for that?
So So at that point, we hired another business coach, and it was helpful for a little while, but the business coach, we weren't in alignment with them. So it took us about 6 months with that business coach to realize this is great, but it was not in alignment with us. So we found our current business coach through I forget, one of our other colleagues that we
nutritional coach. Yeah, through looking at nutritional coaching.
Nutritional Coaching Institute, and he's like
when I wasn't going to renew the cert I had for 6 years,
right? Because
they changed all these things,
right?
I went searching for these guys,
right?
And I had heard about this guy for the past 2 or 3 years. I've had his stuff following.
So he's very industry specific then and so he has that expertise that could help you really hone in on what you needed to do.
And the team behind them.
Yeah.
So that we can actually go to for specific things like sales, marketing, so in other words, we may be a 2-person business. Well, 3 really, because Renee's still with us.
Yeah.
Renee's your one of your fitness instructors.
Right, exactly. Yeah. And that's a funny thing with COVID. She's still actually training clients virtually,
right,
from who were members of our gym.
Yeah.
We still kept that piece for those who wanted it.
Right. Because we didn't want to take it away completely. And we know some people really valued that and they were willing to pay the price for it. And we're like, okay, it's paying her salary. It's keeping her going. We don't want to take that away. We're still here in the health and fitness business. So we're not going to take that away completely if they were willing to do it the way we provided it. Again, if no one wants it, well, we don't have to have that piece of it. But again, it's about kind of pivoting again and understanding where our clients' need or wants are, which is really helpful. But our business coach we have now again, they're in the industry. The one thing for me, it's a bigger struggle is that they're in the fitness and diet and nutrition industry. So there's a lot of conversations around how it needs to look, but I am a life coach as well. So my piece to that, it was a struggle for me the past year because I was marketing towards the diet.
Like Sean had said, we didn't want, all the noise out there about the diet and diet marketing, extreme fitness and all of that, where
the diet culture
and getting women to see it a different way.
Right.
And that's what they've been very helpful with, re-messaging without having to be in your face, and that's important for a small business to have a team,
your voice,
who
is kind of in your arena and understand what needs to be done. And I guess that's why I don't know. I guess that's why people get pulled into franchises so easy as a small business, because it's set up. They have the resources.
They have the support.
There.
Marketing. You've got people to go to, and they have specific marketing. You don't even have to come up. We were
the black sheep. We're like, we don't know what we're doing. We're just going to do it, and we're going to try to find somebody to help.
Hit the ground running, whatever it is. We'll just figure it out as we go.
It's kind of, you've got to like matchstick it sometimes, because some conversations you have with your coaches, it melds well. And other conversations you're like, no, that's not what I want. And they hear you, they kind of walk you through, okay, what is it that you want? Let's walk through. What's it going to look like? Creating content. What's it going to look like? You provide content, because there's always that, oh, well, here's the cookie cutter, like the diet. Here's the cookie cutter. Let me fit myself into that. Where I know as an individualized coach, each person needs an individualized plan. And so our coach helps us create the individual thing that we're trying to create, which is, how we want to be seen, how we want to be heard. Some people like, doing podcasts. Some people like doing live. Some people like, having the LinkedIn. Some people love Instagram. Some people, it's like, so we needed to kind of define what it is we were going to focus in on and get good at that. And then if we want to add those other pieces, which
you can later or as you go.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. So that's so interesting. I think it's fantastic. We've heard a lot about, relying on other people and having coaches or mentors along the way. That's a common theme.
Yeah. Some sort of support, other people, other professionals, adding to what you have, because you don't have unlimited resources to have all this stuff in house like most small businesses. You have to seek outside of your business to get that help. So that's
something we learned early on in our journey in business. I mean, all the way back to the point when Jen started Adventure Boot Camp. We went to somebody who had been doing this all over the country.
Right. Teach me how to do it.
To basically had the system in place that she just had to implement.
Right.
And then who was there though for any questions, any type of additional coaching. And then we went into brick and mortar since he wasn't experienced with brick and mortar. We then went and found those coaches who would help us build the business in brick and mortar, and that's kind of how we knew that we always needed to have somebody. If we were transitioning into the next phase of the business, we needed to find somebody to match that to have in our
to help see your vision through.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of times we're too close to it to know exactly what may need to happen, and getting an outside perspective is really important. And big companies have other people to bounce these ideas off of, and pull resources together. I mean, mental resources together to help figure out getting the right solutions and the right avenues. But as a small business owner, you're kind of by yourself. I mean, you guys have each other, but you don't have a lot, there's not a lot of people on your team that are so-called on your team, but you filled those roles by getting the right people involved.
Exactly.
Well, when you own to be completely honest, when you own a small business, I don't know about you, but having a quote unquote gym business, everyone's got advice. Oh, well, if you do, it's like, well, no. Like
they don't have of times.
Yeah, it's like,
but if you did this, if you added this, if you did, it's
you're like, thank you for the information. That's
outside our model.
Yeah.
That's outside our model. Yeah. It's not really what you want to have happen. And
exactly.
Yeah.
It's awesome, but it's frustrating sometimes because people, I've heard a lot of other small business owners that say, they just don't, a lot of or family, friends, they just don't understand like you said, Sean, it is 24/7. Are, if something goes down and you have like an online piece that people are looking, needing, wanting, you've got to figure that out. And it's figured out. It's on your back. It's not like, let me call the tech team. And I'm like, let me call my tech guy, which is Mike,
Well, that's who I text. That's who I text when I can't get online here.
Right?
Mike, it's not working.
What's going on? Exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I mean, obviously,
sometimes.
Yeah. So obviously we've learned over the amount of time that we've been in this business that it's kind of like, I think you build, like I said, we build resilience and we build, the stamina, and it's like you build endurance and you understand what bucket am I focusing in on now? Where do I need to kind of settle myself and ground myself into? What decisions do we need to make now? How can we just settle the craziness that goes in on our head, because we have all that crazy crap that goes on our heads all the time.
Yeah, there's so many things that can pull you in so many different directions.
Right.
And, and there's times now, I mean, we've gotten a lot better at this where she'll look at me and she'd be like, I just don't have it today. I'm like, fine.
Sometimes
I'll look at her and be like, okay, that I don't have anything else.
Right.
I need to get away from the screen. I need to go somewhere.
Well,
yes.
Well, and that's one thing that I have learned over the several years is that scheduling yourself is the most important thing you can do. You need to block out time for you. I mean, literally, I block out lunch and I say, eat food. I really have to tell myself.
You must do this.
Yeah, eat food. You need to eat I actually have for my breakfast, eat a whole breakfast.
Eat a whole breakfast.
Right, exactly. It's like, well, because you can convince yourself, well, I'll get to it. But then after a while, you're like, I haven't really eaten a full meal in 5 days. And then you're like, well, the only time, because if you have family or we have 3 dogs, we take them out for a walk and then we come back in and then we go back to the work. And so it's like, you really need to make sure that you do good work in the time that you provide, but then give yourself downtime, give yourself off time, because all that work will be there tomorrow. It'll be there. Honestly, I'm not really saving lives right now.
Right this second.
It's like people are not relying on
me.
They
think it is that important.
And that's been one of the biggest.
We get that a lot.
Right. Exactly. It's not
from the brick and mortar.
Right. But, not being available all the time.
With the brick and mortar, we would go in
5 a.m.
Do everybody would be gone by 10.
Mm-hmm.
We'd do our workout. Mm-hmm. We'd come home and eat lunch. We'd take a nap to go back in for 4:30.
Right.
But there wasn't a lot of other work done outside of being inside that facility.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
So now being online,
so very different, isn't it?
It's so different.
Yeah.
Well, everything's right there. So you have to find a way to block out those times, or you're going to go nuts.
Yeah. One of the things that I learned was, and I learned it from you, Jen, I think, is that you block the time, but it's not going to feel very good in the beginning. It's going to feel really uncomfortable, and you're going to fight it almost to take it, because I know for me, I would feel guilty. I would think about all the things that I should have been doing while I was doing stuff for myself. And you just got to power through that, though. I think that you really just have to power through it.
And it becomes more and more comfortable after a while. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just like anything new.
It's more natural.
It becomes more natural as you get into the flow.
You're so ingrained on just work, or, dropping everything when there's something that has to get done, and instead of like stepping back and saying, okay, does this have to be done right now? Like, is it really a life-saving thing? We don't have a lot of that in accounting, but
people certainly think they do.
Yeah, I know sometimes we felt like that when we're like, Sean.
Yeah, there are instances where you got to be available. Yeah,
it's important, but it's not life or death.
No, I think one thing that I know that I talk to a lot of women, much like yourself, Michelle, that are moms, business owners, or working for somebody, and to be completely honest, nothing against these guys, but we've been taught as women that we're supposed to have it all and do it all. And the problem is that we can't get that out of our heads. And so I spend a lot of time having these conversations. Why? I have a client that she's a physician's assistant in an emergency room. And so she's got really crazy hours, but she feels this need that the laundry has to be done. And I'm like, but you're exhausted. Mm-hmm. You can't get enough sleep. You're not eating food.
But the scale needs to move. So I'm going to do the half hour of cardio after my strength training.
Exactly. So it's like, it's like, okay, do you understand what you're doing to your metabolism? Because I'm a metabolic optimization coach. And I'm like, do you understand what you're doing to your metabolism? And what are you doing to your psychology at that point? You show up for your family and you're yelling at them. And you're like, because I got to do the laundry. And it's like, just let it wait. I mean, like, do you have underwear? Cool. You're good. So
yeah.
I have 3 weeks worth.
Right, exactly. And that's where
go to the store, buy some more.
Right, exactly. We're small business owners. I think we forget that. I mean, as women business owners, we're doing all the marketing, we're doing all the things, and then we come home and we're making dinner and we're cleaning the house and we're doing all the things, and we're like, oh, we're sexy mama, and I've got to like lose the weight and be sexy in my outfit. And it's like, whoa.
So many things.
Yeah, there's like, let's get down to the real truth to this. You do not have to do it all. Let's figure out how you can live a really balanced life. Like you said, Michelle, where are you putting your energy now? And let's pull back on those areas that are, so what, you have dirty clothes,
not as important.
It does not matter. And it's that stress that a lot of women have. They come to me a lot of times and they're like, Jen, I can't stand people in my life. Like, I can't stand my family. Like, I want to kill them. And I'm like, well, okay, let's talk this through. Let's figure out, like you, Michelle, I'm like, go take some time for yourself, but I can't, and it's like, yes, well, we can. It's just, it's going to feel really bad at first, and then it'll start to get better and get better. But
I think to tie it into some of what, Sean and I are going to be helping small businesses with is being able to get clear on the things that they need to do, get organized in what they need to do. And then that starts to alleviate some of that stress that is like, oh my gosh, I have that thing to do. And it's just like hanging over you, you know? Yeah. And so, you know, our hope is to be able to provide solutions for people in the small business world that are trying to do all of these things, know what questions to ask, be able to ask those questions and delegate too, you know, be able to delegate. Like you hired an accountant, you hired, you know, maybe a marketing person, the people that are experts in your field, but being savvy about those things as well, so that not everything is stressful.
That's one of the biggest lessons we learned early on was to create your list, your list that basically says, these are things I like to do in the business, and these are the things I dislike doing in the business. Right. And anything on that dislike list, you try to find somebody to do it for you.
Because you're wasting your energy and you're not making any more money by putting all your eggs in all of the baskets. You can make more money, you diversify and get your talents where they're supposed to be and really focus in on that. And that's really most important. I think, Michelle, what you were talking about is like you're creating systems. People don't realize they're systems, and systems are what systems. See, that's the thing. It's like James Clear talks about the atomic habits and how you need to create personal systems. And that's because your systems are only as good as your day-to-day habits. I mean, it's really like your goals. You can't achieve your goals if your systems are cracked.
It's all broken down.
It's not gonna work. Exactly. You're only as good as your systems, as he says, you know, like you can't reach a goal if you have this, you know, like then it's just a dream. You're really not getting there. So you need to kind of sit down and get that stuff set in place. Structure. There's importance in structure. So many people are like, well, I want to be free. And as a business owner, I just want to fly by the seat of my pants, but they get nowhere. They make no money. And they eventually have just like, it's a dream. You're really not getting anywhere. You're not paying your bills and you're leveraging your whole life on this thing. So if you would just get some systems in place, baseline, like I say with my clients, minimal effective dose. It doesn't have to be like massive systems, but just habits that you consistently do. And it's like brushing your teeth or getting up and brushing your hair. You know, you sleep every night, right? You brush your teeth, you know, we got to drink water. It's those kinds of things that in your business, if you can do the same thing, you create something that's exponentially better and you can impact and serve the people that you want to and create the business and the dream and the life that you want. You get more freedom with that. So that's
absolutely. That's great
really
stuff.
Yeah, really good information.
Yep. Yeah. Thanks so much. Yeah. Yeah. So now that you have pivoted, what do you want to do? Like you have I know you guys don't ever sit still. So, you know, honing in on your life coaching and filling that 80% for people with helping to change that. Is that where you're going and you see changes in that, or what is the name of your business anyway? Because I don't want to give you the fitness business name. So
So right now we're Diamond Divas Metabolism Academy. That's basically what we go by on Facebook. We're also
Only Results Coaching.
Only Results Coaching. So we kind of melded the two together because we were only at Results Fitness. We kind of moved to Only Results Coaching, and now Diamond Divas Metabolism Academy is really what I focus in on a lot of the ladies.
That's where 90%. That's where 90% of the focus is.
So awesome. The ultimate goal, obviously, I'm working still one-on-one with each individual and more of a group environment with all the ladies that I work with. So we're hitting all checking all the boxes, right?
From how to make modifications to lifestyle habits,
right?
How to help them understand how their body responds to different foods better. That exercise, they don't have to kill themselves with exercise, just focusing on improving their movement throughout the day.
Right.
We're mainly hitting women who are 35 plus at this point,
okay.
Because we figure at that point, that's where I hate to say it this way, that's where the frustration has set in,
right?
Because they want to see themselves as a 20-year-old again.
Mm-hmm. Because they're marketed that way.
Because,
of course it is.
Of
course it is.
But just helping them get more comfortable and just leave perfectionism at the door. That's the big thing. Everybody thinks they get a diet plan, they got to be perfect on the diet plan. No, that's not, you're not going to feel any better from when you start the diet plan to when you end it. You haven't,
you're not really fixing it.
Well, and it's not, they already don't appreciate themselves. So to move them to, okay, I lost 20 pounds. Well, how do you feel now? Well, my clothes fit better. Yeah, but what else?
Right.
And usually it's dead air.
Right.
Because
it's creating the identity with it. So it's a slower process than your 6-week challenge for sure, because a lot of women are taught and fed to, then they've gotten great results on a 6-week, 12-week, whatever. The problem is with that is that we know what it does to the metabolism. So what we're doing is trying to help them repair the pieces that have been kind of like all over the place, giving them some rhythm and harmony, and starting to recognize what it is they can do, setting the baseline, and then how they can improve satisfaction, fulfillment, and engagement in their life where they don't have it. So that's where that life coaching comes in.
And let go of the body shame and that guilt shame spiral that being on those roller coasters actually put most women into.
Yeah,
it does.
Yeah, it's not. In all honesty, it makes me sad to talk to some women that have gone on so many different diets that they have no idea what their body's doing or telling them, because they've been told you're not supposed to be hungry, you're not supposed to do this, oh, your hair's supposed to fall out, right? Crowdsourcing, and it's their friends like, well, I lost 20 pounds, and they're like, well, I gained weight, and it's like,
and then they go to their doctor, and their doctor said, well, this worked for me, but they don't ask the doctor how much nutrition background they have. And then
you'd be surprised on how much nutrition.
Hours.
Doctors don't.
That's it.
No,
doctors don't have enough. Yeah, for sure.
That's their specialty. But so, our business is all about right now is working with the women that are looking to quit dieting. They know they've done all the diets, and they just feel lost. They feel like they've been left out hanging. Like Mike said,
susceptible to all the
35 and older is really what a lot of the women are coming. They're like, yeah, I've tried Weight Watchers. I've tried keto. I've tried this. I've tried that. I've tried
all of them. Yeah.
All of them. And it's like, okay, how did it work for you? Great, until I stopped because I couldn't keep it up. So we're looking for
too hard
to fit into their lifestyle.
Right. In all honesty, I don't want clients for the rest of my life. I want to teach clients how to live a long-term lifestyle and know that when stress is happening, oh, okay, this is how I baseline it again. Oh, okay, this is how they need to pivot. I've pivoted so many times. I'm like, let me tell you about this, girlfriend.
Yeah. You're teaching others how to do the same.
Right. So it's our ultimate goal is to, get as many one-on-one clients, but then also get into the group environment. To be completely honest, I said this in my coach, we had an amazing event in December, and I was like, I want to impact 100,000 women, whether it's
it's a goal you have. Okay. Good.
Speaking directly, or to working with them directly, working in the group environment, or just speaking. And so
and passing it down.
You figure the mom to the daughter to the family.
Yes.
So yeah, but
that's awesome. What a great goal.
Yeah.
Nice. Well, I think
it's not quite what our coach's goal is. Our coach's goal is to impact 1 billion people.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the coach's goal, but you have to be the one that sets that tone. So yeah,
You'll add the 100,000 to you'll add the 100,000 to his billion.
Right, we're part of that billion.
Right. Well, thank you so much for being with us today. I think there's so much good information that you guys had shared with us. The business coach, kind of having mentors, having the balance, pivoting, being okay pivoting, being okay in the fact that things change. And
finding your team, going outside of your comfort zone, putting, things that you want to do versus things you don't want to do, and focusing on just the things that you want to do.
Yeah. I mean, if somebody isn't a resilient person and they want to open a small business, I would have them question it. Because it definitely takes resilience.
I think they need
it's either that or you kind of learn as you go and become more resilient.
Well, that's it.
You learn the resilience. You kind of learn as you go.
You have to have that ability.
Definitely. And as working with your spouse, sometimes you need a therapist as well. So
yes. I have a pretty good spouse though. So
yeah.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us today. And, we look forward to the next time that we can talk to you guys. Awesome.
Same here. Have a great day.
Thanks. If you find this podcast helpful, then like, subscribe, and follow us on social media.